Hi everyone, this is Frenchkey, and in this video I will show you a little bit about the Proxmark. So to start with this tool, you have in the compiled client the go.bat file, and this will open a command line client in which you can directly speak to the Proxmark. So the first thing to do with your Proxmark when it is installed, every time you run it, just to make sure everything is working good, you run HW tune, and this will check that the antennas are working correctly. So it just takes a few seconds, and it will show you here a small graph, and especially here you see some voltages for the antennas, and your Proxmark should show something similar to mine. If you have 0 or if you have a few thousands of volts, it means something is wrong, and then maybe you need to screw these antennas, or have a look what is wrong. So the very first thing to do when you have unknown badges is to determine what is the frequency. And Proxmark is very powerful for this, because you can deal with 13.56 megahertz badges as well as 125 kilohertz badges. So the first thing to do is to determine which frequency is used with your badges. So let's run LF tune, and this will show constantly refreshing voltage of the 125 kilohertz antenna. So here you see it shows 66 volts, and if I take a badge, put it here, changes a little bit, but remains almost the same. This one same, this one. So here you see you have a big drop, okay, and this one nothing is changing. So from this it seems that this one is 125 kilohertz. So let's do the other way. So I will use HF, which means high frequency tune, and this will activate the high frequency antenna, so the 13.56 megahertz antenna. If I do the same now with these badges, nothing is changing. So you see here it remains at 43, 42. And if I take these badges, then I have a bigger drop with this one. Same with this one. And same with this one. So depending exactly how I put it on the antenna, it will drop a little bit more, and also it shows me where is the best place to put my badge. So here you see I have 39, 38, 37. So here seems to be pretty good. 36, even better. And then when I move away, then I have a bigger voltage. So the best place is where the badge gives the biggest drop, which means that the antenna is giving a lot more power into the badge. Okay, so we just determined that these three badges are 13.56 megahertz, and this one is 125 kilohertz. So in this video I will mostly speak about these badges, and I will make another video later about 125 kilohertz badges. So when you have a badge, if you know this is a HF badge, you will run HF search and put a badge on the antenna and run it. So this will try a few different types of badges, and when it finds something compatible, it will try to get the unique ID and some other data from this badge. So this badge tells me this is UID C5F1FB59, and actually this is what is written on my badge in reverse, but this is the same ID, which is interesting because electronic ID is also written physically on my badge, which can lead to some attacks. We will speak about it later. I can see the ATQA, SAK, and it tells me this is a Mifare Classic 1 kilo badge. And pseudo-random number generator is weak, so we will speak about it as well. It will allow us to do some advanced attacks. So I will do it now with this one, and I will run the exact same command, HF search. So it finds a similar badge. You see here the ISO is the same, but the UID is different. So this is a 4 bytes UID, this is a 7 bytes UID, which means that this one is maybe more secure, but also it's a newer generation of badges. We can also see here that the pseudo-random number generator is hard, which means that some attacks will not work with this badge, and we will need some advanced attacks to deal with it. We will speak about it also later, and let's just do this one now. So this one is actually very similar to the first one we had. It's a 4 bytes Mifare Classic 1 kilo. The system doesn't know exactly, it could be also 2 kilo, 1 kilo EV1, but the pseudo-random number generator is also weak. So we will try to play first with this one and see what it gives. So the first attack we can do on this badge is a darkside attack that will give us at least one key from the 16 blocks in the badge. So let's run HF, and because we know this is Mifare, we will use MF and then darkside. So if you want to know what is available, actually you can type HF space H, which is for help, and it will give you all the commands that you can use with HF. So we see HF tune, HF search that we already used, and what we want now is HF MF for Mifare RFID badges. So HF MF, and you can also run H for help, and it will tell you all the commands that are available for HFMF. So here I have a list of attacks, a list of reading, writing, simple commands which are not really attacks but just communication with a badge. This is a simulation, so if you want to emulate a badge, let's say you made a copy of a badge and you want to emulate it directly with a Proxmark acting as a badge on a reader, you can use sim. You have a lot of commands that are for so-called Chinese cards, so cards that allow to modify the unique identification, and some other sub-commands that are only available on Chinese badges. So we will use some of these in this video and in some next videos. For now, we want to use darkside. So HF MF darkside. So this command will actually attack this badge with this command. So let's do it again. It tells me it's not vulnerable, but we saw the pseudo-random number generator is weak, so maybe my badge was not placed correctly. I will just do it again. Okay, so here we see the attack starts, and it takes, as I say here, about 25 seconds. So it will just iterate a few times to find one key, and because we used the default command, we did not tell the client to attack one specific key. It will attack the very first key of the badge. So we just have to wait a few seconds and it should find one, hopefully. And then from that, we will use the next attack that will actually crack all the other keys based on the very first key it will have found. Okay, so it took about 1 minute to find it, and we now have a key here that is one key of this badge. So the next attack that we will run is called nested attack. So it's HF, MF, nested, and you see here this is just after darkside. For a reason is because usually you use it just after the darkside attack. We will use the help again here to see how to deal with this attack. So you have a few examples here that are very useful, and this is what we will use. If you look, especially this one, the third one, you have HF, MF, nested 1, which is for Mifare 1 kilo, which is the case here. 0A, which is the default key that is found by the darkside attack, so we will use 0A as well. Here FFF, actually we will replace it with this key that has been found, and we will use a D here, so all the keys when they are found will be saved in a bin file, which will be used in next attack. So I will copy paste this, copy paste this key here, and add D, and I will run it. So this one was pretty fast actually, because we are lucky in this case. All the keys are the same, so it did not even need to crack the other ones. But it could just try the same key in all sectors and open it, so to speak. Okay, so we will use this bin file, and we can actually open it so you have a look what is inside. So in this bin file we have all the keys one after the other. So now in the Proxmark client, we will run HF, MF, dump, and if I go for the help, actually I can see that if I don't give a name for the key and the file, it will actually default with the same name as the badge that is here. So it will first scan this badge, read the UID, and check if there is a bin file with the same UID. So if you run this attack, one after the other, you can just input HF, MF, dump, and it will look for the bin file with all the known keys. And you see here, every block is read one after the other until all sectors are read. Okay, so when it's finished, it will create a few different files where you have the data of the badge. In my case, I will use only the bin file, which is easiest to read. So when I open it, I see all the data in my badge, and you can see there are not much data, but here I can see the content of this sector, and this sector is secured by these keys. So I can potentially modify, I can copy, I can emulate I can add some new data, I can remove some data. I have access to everything in this badge now after all these attacks. In the next video, we will see a few different other badges and see how the attacks go. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.